Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Ali here, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you a couple of tricks. First of all, showing you how to work with your voiceover audio files, and I'm also going to share with you how to transition from one scene to another using camera animation. So for example, if you have a closer shot where you zoomed in on a particular area of your first scene, and then you want to transition into the second scene, but have it full width, normally when you do it, you zoom in too much and then you zoom out. Sometimes it doesn't look smooth. So I'm going to help you and show you how you can really make it smooth using camera animation. But first off, let's talk about how to organize your scenes using audio files. Now, I've seen a couple of people asking about this, or they had trouble when they group their scenes, and they go inside the scene to make adjustments, but they're unable to hear the voiceover, because basically how it works with CreateStudio is that when you group your scene without an audio file, and let's say you have your voiceover file on your main timeline, you won't be able to hear it when you go inside a group. So for example, if you're looking at my screen right now, you can see that I have built a couple of scenes. So I got, this background, and then my character, and this would be my second scene and the background. And so, for the sake of tutorial, I just included a music track, considering this, or pretending this would be an audio file as a voiceover, just to show you how you can easily work with your audio files and make sure that if you'd like to make adjustments to your scene, that you can easily go back into that scene and be able to listen to your voiceover, instead of having the trouble where you have your voiceover on the main timeline and you go inside the group, you can't hear it. So first of all, I'm gonna showcase how you normally do it. And I'm gonna select my character right here along with the background, right click and then group. And so this is the audio file, this is the music, again, pretending this is a voiceover. Let's go over it and play it for a few seconds. So that's how it normally sounds when you're on the main timeline and you're playing your video, reviewing it. You can hear the music or the voiceover. But if you go inside the group by double clicking on the group right here, and then you go inside, you can only see our character and the background. So if we go back to the beginning and then we press play, you will not be able to hear the audio file, which in which our case is the music or background music. So the best way to do this is, let's say, first of all, I'm going to do, I'll just ungroup my scene and just drag all those one track to the bottom like this. And again, consider this, your voiceover file. In order for you to be able to go back to adjust it and hear it inside the group, you can simply just make sure that you move your playhead forward in time until the end of the scene, and then select your audio file that's on the timeline, and then go to the cut button right here, click cut. That way you separate the file. In our case here, that will be for our scene number one. So now what I'm going to do is I'll select all three layers. So the character, the background, and the audio file, right click and group all those together. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Select all three, right click, and then group all this together. Now I can go back to the first group, right click it, rename, and then call this scene number one. And then I'm going to do the same for the second one. So right click and then call this scene two. So now I have everything that's that has to do with scene one inside the group, and everything that has to do with scene number two is inside the group. So if I go inside scene number one, let's say I want to make adjustments, and then go back, and then now when I play it, I will be able to hear the audio file just like this. right? So that's the easiest way for you to cut your audio files into scenes and group them all together. That way, when you go back and you want to make adjustments, it's so easy for you to make adjustments without having to ungroup. So make extra steps to ungroup your scene, make your adjustments, and then go back and group things together. It's a lot of time, a lot of hassle. So save yourself from doing that. Easily just cut your audio file where it ends for scene one, group everything together, and then if you want to go back to it anytime, make adjustments, you can easily do that and still be able to hear your audio file. And it's just the audio file, the voiceover. I don't mean the music background. You can just keep the music background track in the main timeline, because all you really care about is just your voiceover file in the timeline. Now, next up, I want to show you how to easily transition between one scene to another using camera animation. So let's say, for example, at 2 seconds, I want to start zooming in with a closer shot on my character right here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and open up my components, drag and drop the camera into my timeline like this. Let's just right click and remove excess tracks, close out the components one more time. And now I have my camera track at the top of the timeline. So what I'm going to do is I'll simply just go there and double click on the on the camera track to add an animation for my camera. And then let's say I'm going to shorten it just a little, and I'm going to move my playhead after the instance of the camera animation. And then I can easily just, go ahead and change the frame or resize it, make it smaller, just so I can have a closer shot on my character right there. So before I make any other adjustments and then transition into the other scene, I want to show you how that looks like. So let's just go back and then play this from the beginning and show you what that looks like. Okay, so that's exactly what's going to happen. So as you can see here, that we use the camera animation to have a closer shot on that guy. So let's say, for example, I do want to transition into my next scene, but I don't want it to zoom, to have it, zoomed in like this. Now, the easiest way, and I found this really helpful and very smooth, is first of all, we're going to double click on the timeline again to add another camera animation for scene number 2. Now, this is very important, and I want you to pay attention to this. Once you add your camera animation, you want to zoom in on your timeline to the maximum level, just like you see right now. And then you want to make sure that you minimize or scale down your camera instance to the minimum, just like that. And then what you want to do at this point is just drag and drop, just drag it to the right side, and make sure that it basically, ends right before the next scene starts right here. Okay, so we're only doing this so the camera animation is only for one frame. As you can see, it's just one frame, and that's exactly what we want. So at this point, I just want to move my playhead after the instance, and I could just double click one of the knots right here to make it a full width like that. So that way I can easily just transition between, scene 1 into scene 2 with a full width, just like you see right now. And I'm going to show you that in action. Let's just zoom out of my timeline and then go back right here, play this, and show you what that looks like. You can see the camera, if I have it selected, it's really tiny right there, right? You can see that it's really tiny right there. Let me just make sure I have this lined up. And let's just go back and then play this and show you exactly what it looks like. See that was pretty easy and pretty smooth, making your transition move from one scene to another. So on the previous scene, we had a closer shot on our character. So instead of just, zooming out slowly, what you want to do is, again, you add a camera animation and then you zoom into your, on your timeline to the maximum level. You shrink down your camera animation to the minimum it can get to, which is 1 frame. And then make sure that your camera instance is on the last frame of your previous scene. and then move your playhead after the instance, and that way you can scale up your camera frame, making it full width just by clicking any of those four nodes around the camera frame. Double click it to give you a full width, or you also have on the right panel right here an expand camera button that just gives you a full width instead. So these are like two ways to make it quick and easy full width for your scene. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been pretty helpful. If you're not subscribed yet, please do, and stay tuned for the upcoming tutorials. Thank you and have a great day.